And you guys have to guess. In 2004, there was a 3-year-old elementary. He was excited to go to the first day of school. The only men were different. They were just white, playful with each other. Until he says, "I'm a Mexican." Everyone ridiculed him, made fun of him, and said, "Go back where you belong." When he was 3, all he only understood was more Spanish, but he said more English. The second day of school was even worse for him. The teachers got their fun by giving him an F every single day. Even though the little boy did all of his homework to get good grades. The teachers never. He went out and played by himself because none of the other kids wanted a Mexican as a friend. So the little boy never had any friends to begin with. He was lonely and sad. I wasn't happy at all anymore. Sad news was, for the first week of school, the little boy got 3 little white kids. Or should I say 3 little white kids told the little 3-year-old kid, "Hey, come to the bathroom with us. We have something to tell you." So the little boy went in the bathroom. When it was recess was almost over, they only wanted to fight him, calling him names, humiliating, tormenting, and even ridiculing that one singular little boy. They told him that they don't want him in their school. The little boy said, "I already figured that out." Now they said, "We want to fight you to see what you are made out of." But they pulled one very wrong trigger on that little boy's life. They told him, "If you don't fight all 3 of us, we will go kill your mom and your whole entire family." That was the wrong trigger that those 3 little boys made. The little boy said, Go ahead, I'll let you throw the first punch. Then the leader of the three little boys punched the little boy in the face. Didn't even faze him. The little boy grabbed his arm with unknown strength that he had and broke it. The other two kicked and punched the little boy with only minor cuts and bruises on his body. But basically he was not fazed at all. The one to the left, that little boy got his leg broken. The one to the right that was kicking, got his nose broken. From sheer anger and with unknown strength to the little boy now. He passed out from sheer anger and 100% adrenaline. He blacked out for 3 hours. 2 teachers came in the bathroom, saw most of the blood on the Mexicans, or should I say the little Mexican's hands, mostly covered in blood, because he punched and won the fight. So he went to the principal's office, but the other 3 went to the hospital. The principal didn't say a word, just gave the little boy a note saying something that was unfamiliar to him. Expelled. The little boy was finally happy that he was going to leave the school forever. All the cuts and bruises were on his abdomen and chest. By the time when it was already time to go home, the little boy was poor. By the time when he was 5, the little boy moved into a new home. And then the little boy kept his distance from other people because they might ridicule him, humiliate, and do the same stuff over and over and over again. One day when his mom put him into a new school, he saw there was a couple of Mexicans, a couple of whites, and a couple of other colors. So he made friends with them, despite their race. He felt happy for those last 6 years. For the 5th year, his first friend had to go away. That little boy's name was Victor. Victor Estrada. His very first best friend. There was an asshole laughing because they were crying and hugging because he thought it was gay. That little guy, his name was Ricky Pino. The little boy said, "Have you ever lost a friend before that has to move thousands of miles away from you that might never come back?" Ricky said no. So then the little boy's friend, Victor, the next passing week, he was never seen again in Towmorow Elementary. Years passed on. The little boy made more friends, gained a little happiness and self-consciousness. Until he felt something that was missing. He didn't know what it was. He didn't know what the feeling was. He just knew it was just missing the whole time. The little boy had a dog only for 5 years. That was his second best friend. On the 5th year, the little boy's new best friend of a dog, he was taking a bath with it in a little kiddie pool, since his parents bought a bigger pool. It was only for the big kids. The dog dived right into his arms. The little boy cried and stayed depressed for 2 years. When he was 8, he was getting out of school, and his mom said, "Let's go meet your grandma." So the little boy met his grandma, and suddenly there was an ambulance there. His grandma lived close to his house. She was on the hospital bed or the ambulance speedy chair bed, laying down unconscious. He didn't know what to do. He saw his mom cry. He went to the hospital with his mom. But the little boy could not go into a very important but very sad room. It was called an ER. The little boy's mom told him, "Your grandma's blood rushed all the way to her brain while she was sleeping. She was stuck unconscious for 13 hours. And when the doctor said, or came out and said to the mom, 'Can I speak to you in private where your son won't hear this?' Suddenly, by the facial expression of the little boy's mom, her dropping and crying, and not know what to do. He noticed that her facial expression was grim and sad, so he figured something happened. The little boy's grandma's funeral was a week. The little boy's family raised enough money for her to casket and a proper funeral. But somehow the little boy didn't cry, because he didn't know what remorse was for a fallen family member. That was the second time the little boy lost faith in a man called Jesus. Or like we know that in our culture, or cultures, or in our language, Jesus. Jesus didn't help the little boy in Peralta or help him felt remorse and sadness when his grandma died. A year later, the little boy's mom took him to his cousin's house. To meet a cousin called Anthony and an uncle named Theo Basetto and an aunt called Thea Bonnie. They were a happy family. But 1 month later, Theo Basetto passed away from a heart attack. With two family members gone, the little boy finally felt remorse and sadness, and stayed depressed for his life. Each passing year, he lost another family member. It was an aunt. Died naturally from an old age of 87. He stayed depressed even longer. That was when the little boy was 12 or 11. So the little boy went to middle school, staying distant from his friends and his family, putting himself in isolation. Because the little boy didn't have an older brother to keep him company or cheer him up. So the little boy's heart grew cold and dark and lonely and sad. So the little boy never felt happiness or love or compassion again. For the next few passing years, the little boy, or should I say the young man, is now 20 and about to turn 21 on the almost at the end of the year. That story is true, and it's by me. The true story of that little boy's name is called Christopher Andrew Serna Cabron beneath this. I've been through hell and back to hell. I've been ridiculed, traumatized, humiliated, and tortured mentally. None of my friends ever knew what I've been through, because I've been depressed for so long. I don't even know how to get out of it anymore. I tried to go through acceptance and that didn't work. It brought me back to depression. My first dog's name was fucking Bud. He was only 5 years old and died in my arms. For those passing years, I kept on having dogs and more dogs, and yet the same results happened. Couldn't keep a single dog for 13 years. They just die at a very young age. In my arms, in my care. It's when I started to feel anger towards him. Freaking Jesus. Stop believing in him. Got even more distant with my family. I don't talk to them. I don't do anything because the pain and suffering I've been through. I've been hiding all these emotions, sadness, anger, and guilt because I was fucking bored and I got the curse of this whole family. Generation X of the gathered ones. And it's still going on, even though I am 20. And yet I barely even remember I lost another family member, and it's my Aunt Andrea's sister. I only known her for 2 years, and yet she passed. That's 4 family members dying. Even though I barely even knew them that long. And yet, what did I do when I was 19? I tried to kill myself to get, or to break the curse. For all this time, it failed. It would have been 5 to 3 years if anyone started to miss me. I've been in so much pain with all of this that I started to develop to have multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia, murder tendencies, bloodlust, uncontrollable crying, sadness, and anger management. I went to therapy, and that didn't help. So what was the next best thing? Sleeping and isolation. So that's what I did. And that's the end of this video. And this video is sponsored by Rev Auto.